I know some of you may be disappointed expecting to see the second part to my what if drop, but I'm sorry, it's taken me a little bit longer to cook up than I initially expected. However, I promise to have that out for you as soon as I can. In the meantime though, we do have some more pressing matters to attend to, that being the inevitable final match between Bastion Munich and PXG. Two of the strongest rosters that we've seen in the entirety of the Neo Egoist League, and both teams being undefeated. This is going to be the highest stakes that we've seen in the entirety of the Neo Egoist League so far, and probably, well, actually, no. The Japan U20 match was huge, respectfully. Obviously, it was for the future of Japanese soccer, so until we get to probably the World Cup, we're not going to have anything just as impactful. But as far as our Blue Lockers are concerned, and the Japan U20 team, respectfully, this is probably going to be the decision-making match to see who is truly going to lead Japan into the promised land. Will it be PXG's ace, fresh off of a hat-trick against potentially both Barca and Munchen City, holding the highest valuation of all Blue Lockers in the entirety of the facility, not to mention quickly making a claim for New Gen 11 status? Atoshi Ren is on another level. I keep saying this in this video, in that video, but I can't underestimate it enough. Atoshi Ren, he's gonna not just be a problem for Isagi, but the entirety of Bastion Munich. Kaiser is probably gonna have some issues with Ren. If the two of them were to clash, it would be one of those moments where when Noel Noah and Lavinia went at it, when it's like two world-class pros, I feel like if we see Atoshi Ren and Michael Kaiser going at it with each other, they are going to cause one of those skill cyclones, whatever you want to call them, that no one can interrupt with. And I feel like Isagi's going to see that. Maybe it's going to be between Ren and Isagi. You're going to have some issues everywhere else in the field. I'll get into that later on when I have to get into it. But I truly do believe that Atoshi Ren is going to be a next level threat for them to stop. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be hunkering down and trying to get to the bottom of this. Who is going to win, and what is it going to take for each team to win? I think that is where we should specifically focus on. And just think about it, there's way too many rivalries to touch up on, or at least just elite level matchups that we're going to see. Obviously Ren and Isagi. If he's not radio silent this match, I can totally see Shido Ryu making a fucking beeline for Michael Kaiser, and don't tell me otherwise. Especially after Kaiser got that bid from Real. You really think he wants anybody stepping in on his turf when it comes to Sai? I think not. And seeing as how we're on the topic of not just Atoshi Ren, but Shido Ryu and PXG as a whole, we can get straight into what I believe PXG needs to do in order to defeat Bastion Munich. And it's actually pretty simple. Well, it's simple on paper, and me saying it out loud is pretty simple, but doing it in the actual scope of the manga can be pretty difficult, or at least it's been shown to be pretty difficult. And the key to all of it is stopping Isagi Yoichi. We saw clear as day, not just in the match itself, but in the aftermath, that Michael Kaiser did accept defeat to Isagi Yoichi. Isagi won. Point blank, period. You can't dispute that. Truth of the matter is, as much as it does pain me to say it, Isagi Yoichi is currently the most dangerous player on Bastion Munich. Obviously, if we're going through an entire power hierarchy, I'd say it would be pretty easy. You'd go Noel Noah, obviously at the top, but due to the star chain system, it's only 3 minutes, so it's kind of like an asterisk up there. Then it's definitely Isagi. Based on everything we've seen so far, he is more dangerous on the pitch than Kaiser, simply because he is trying to do more and successfully doing more against not just teams, but his own team. He's succeeding more than Kaiser is, which is the exact challenge that they threw out to each other. Let's see who can score more goals. Isagi straight up beat him, so they're going to have to start acting accordingly and man-marking Isagi himself. And I feel like this is going to be pretty self-explanatory, and I feel like it's going to be self-explanatory, but Ren's going to take that job on his own. And I don't think this has to be something based off of just how Isagi's been playing recently. This is just what I feel like Ren would do anyway. I feel like he did it against Nagi in the Munchen City vs PXG match, and I feel like he's going to try and do it to Isagi to the best of his ability, at least. I shared this belief on Twitter because I was taking a look at Ren's design, and specifically his flow state eyes. If you look at the eyes specifically, they almost resemble a whirlpool, or I specifically said some sort of tsunami or hurricane. This is obviously symbolic of Ren's destructive playstyle, as hurricanes and whirlpools are very destructive forces of nature, with the focus being on the center of the design, or the eye of the storm, meaning that any person caught in a one-on-one with Atoshi Ren, or in this case caught in the eye of the storm, is going to be brutally and disgustingly destroyed. However, this is not going to be foolproof. Even if Ren does big body Isagi and manage to stop him, biggest focus, at least the biggest player on their entire team, is going to be focused on one player, leaving the new generation 11 striker Michael Kaiser realistically the biggest threat on the entire field, even though that's probably not how everyone's going to see him in this match, at least. If Kaiser is allowed to roam around to his free will, then it's over. Because he'll be able to score basically at will, unless he gets the kickoff, you know, unless they have a new Gen 11 goalkeeper, which I would love to see. That would be pretty sick. And seeing a goalkeeper just stop all these shots, making it impossible for them to actually score, even if they get past the defense, would be a really good change of pace to just everyone getting past the goalkeeper and scoring every single time now. Now, if that is the case, and we do have Rin man-marking Isagi, and there is no answer for Kaiser, I feel like there are actually two ways that you can go, and it's with two different man-markings. The first one is going to be Shido Ryu. I feel like this is an obvious matchup. Both are very egotistical and self-centered strikers. Probably the most prototypical strikers in the entirety of the series. Adding Baro into that mix because those are like the main core strikers that we've been introduced to. Seeing someone who was the most potent scoring threat on the pitch compared to who is currently the most potent scoring threat on the pitch would probably give us the coolest matchup that we'll ever see. And honestly, it just gives every single Shido fan a little bit of fan service, which I think they deserve at this point. He's been radio silent for far too long. But if Shido Ryu is not going to be the answer, at least to stopping Michael Kaiser, I do feel like there is a possibility that the answer lies within Tokumitsu. As we all know, Tokumitsu is one of the strongest players in the entirety of the Blue Lock facility, probably the strongest player besides potentially Baro and most likely Kunigami after the wildcard training, obviously. Not to mention he has unlimited stamina. Pair that with his physical abilities, which are off the charts. I feel like he has a possibility to be able to at least put up a fight against Kaiser, man-marking him throughout the entirety of the match. At least he'll be able to keep up being somewhat of a pest. Maybe he won't completely shut him down, but he'll be able to pester him enough just to stop some advances, kind of like Ryo did to Shido in the U20 match. From here, it just becomes a battle of the lineups, and you take a look at some of the matchups you see, it's pretty freaking close. Karasu would have to shut down Hiyori, that's first and foremost. If the first two steps of the plan I laid out were met, then Hiyori would probably be the next threat that you needed to focus on. Him and or Kunigami, depending on how Kunigami comes out this match. However, if you do manage to utilize two of your players on the lineup to neutralize the two biggest threats that also manage to utilize the rest of the lineup to the best of not just their own ability, but the lineup's ability themselves, you're kind of going to be putting yourself in the best position to win, which is what I think PXG will be at if it comes down to a battle of lineup versus lineup with Michael Kaiser and Isagi Yoichi completely out of the mix. Yeah, Hiyori got a big power up and he's looking insane, but Karasu is going to be facing against him. We haven't seen Karasu in a long time, but if his prior standings were anything to go off of, he's going to be one of the biggest threats on PXG's lineup. A sprinter like Zantetsu has to throw off the balance in a lineup as chaotic as Bastion Munich's when he's under the tutelage of the god sprinter Julian Loki. Again, the game plan is very, very simple. Shut down Isagi Yoichi and survive Michael Kaiser. That is all you can do to beat Bastion Munich. That's all you can really do to defeat Bastion Munich, and it sounds super easy. Like, just take out two guys and you're good. But when the two guys are Isagi Yoichi and Michael Kaiser, it's pretty difficult to do at the end of the day. Well, I was yapping far too long on this part. Looks like I'm probably gonna have to make another part to this video where I talk about, you know, what Bastion Munich has to do to beat PXG, the inverse of what we went over today. But forget about that right now because we want to talk about PXG. Let me know in the comments down below who you are most excited to see on the PXG lineup, and stay tuned for part 2 to this video. Like I said, it is coming out soon. If you went on to enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like and consider subbing up to the channel with post notifications turned on so you never miss another banger from myself. And as always, I love you guys. Take it easy.